Welcome to the show, everyone. It's the Crypto Lark, and I'm very excited to have on today Sebastian from Emergo. Emergo, of course, is one of the key pillars of the Cardano ecosystem. We have a very big announcement for you that we're going to be sharing today. It's something that the Cardano community has been waiting for a very, very long time. So we're going to be talking about that. We're also going to be talking about some other key updates that we have seen coming out with Cardano. We're talking a bit about the Yoroi Wallet and some other things too. But Sebastian, welcome to the show.
Hello, so my name is Sebastian. I'm an engineering lead at Emergo. So at Emergo, we're kind of the venture capital branch or the commercial arm of Cardano. So that means that we spend our time trying to figure out how to build the Cardano ecosystem. So our goal is to build a global Cardano, an ecosystem with many companies invested into this project, and basically try and drive value to ADA and to Cardano. So that's our general goal, and one of the ways that we've been focusing on this goal right now is building up something called the Yoroi Wallet, which is a light wallet for Cardano, and it's supposed to be kind of the gateway to the financial world. That's our big vision for it. So that means right now, obviously, we have the wallet itself, we have treasure support, we're adding a bunch of other features such as paper wallet support, and now I'd like to announce that we're adding ledger support also. So we're increasing the functionalities to our wallet. It's very exciting. And we hope to see that Yoroi in the future will kind of grow to this ecosystem where whenever you need to do a financial transaction, anytime you need to interact with the financial world, that Yoroi will be your go-to place. And so I'm very happy to announce all the work that we've been doing with Yoroi, including this ledger integration that we've been working on for quite a while now. Not just us in Emergo, but also our partners in iOSK, our partners in the Cardano Foundation, and our partners in Vacuum Labs that also helped us build the integration.
Thanks for shouting out everyone there as well, because I think it's important to point out that none of this stuff just happens. One person does something. It's a big team effort, and there's a big team behind Cardano pushing all these things forward. And if you're a Cardano holder and you haven't tried out the Yoroi wallet, you got to check it out. I absolutely love it. It's super easy to use, and Daedalus has had its issues, and I know that some people have had lots of issues. I had lots of issues. There was I don't know, 6 months where I couldn't even access my Daedalus wallet, but I didn't mind because I'm long-term hodling. But in terms of actually the user friendliness of Yoroi, it's absolutely awesome. So it's a light wallet versus having to download the whole blockchain. So it's a bit different in that respect. And so, what's been the public reception to the Yoroi wallet?
Yeah, Yoroi Wallet was shipped last year. I believe it was shipped in October. It's been a while, so I kind of forget the exact dates. And since then, it was kind of a slow launch at the time because Emergo is not as well known at the time. Since then, our brand name and our company has really gotten a lot more well known. And so when we launched our iOS and Android apps earlier this year, they both got over 1,000 downloads in a day. Yoroi right now across all our platforms is at over 15,000 downloads. So we're really excited to see how many people are using Yoroi every day for their transaction needs. So it's been quite a huge growth for our R&D department that was only started last year. So it started maybe in about July with just 2 people, me and our CTO, Nico. And since then, we've grown to quite a large team working on many products, including Yoroi. So Yoroi is our first and biggest, but now that we've got a very solid product that's very well loved by the community, now we're kind of starting to expand out to other projects. And so it's really exciting to see our R&D team really grow based off the success we've had with Yoroi.
Now, you were telling me before we started the interview, and I think it's a fun story worth repeating here because I assumed that this meant something really cool in Japanese, but I've always just thought, yo, Roy, but it actually does have a really cool meaning. So can you just tell people what is Yoroi? What's the actual meaning behind the name of this wallet?
Right. Yeah, so Yoroi is the name of the armor that the Japanese samurais wore. So the reason we picked this name is because we're a Japanese company. So we want to kind of reflect our history with the name. And also the armor kind of signifies that we're protecting your funds, right? You're safe with Yoroi, don't worry about it. We have all these measures in place to make sure that your funds are safe. And that's the imagery we wanted people to have when they use this wallet. Obviously, because it's a Japanese term, a lot of people don't know the meaning, but it is the word as is. So if you Google search Yoroi, will probably be the top result. But if you go Google Images, you'll probably see pictures of various Japanese samurai, so you can kind of get a feel for what this armor looks like. It's pretty cool. I recommend you check it out.
Nice. Now, I think a big question on everyone's minds, in fact, a big question that's been on a lot of Cardano investors' minds for a long time, is staking. Now, note this is something you guys are working on integrating with the Yoroi Wallet. So not only is it going to be this beautiful, easy to use sort of light client wallet, we're also going to be able to stake from that wallet, which is very exciting. Do you have any details you can share with us about that yet?
Yeah, so the way we kind of do development in Cardano is in multiple steps, right? So the first step is the research, then the specifications, and then the implementations. So if you think about the Shelley release, which is the release that allows staking in Cardano, we've done the research, okay? We've done the specifications, and now we're refining the specifications with the implementation. So we have, IOHK has two teams, the Haskell team and the Rust team, who are both working on the implementation, and every now and then they come with some specific problem that they need to align on, and then we refine the spec a bit and keep moving forward. What that means for us at Emergo is that we want to enable staking in Yoroi, right? So we want to have staking both on the desktop version and on the mobile version of Yoroi. And so that means that we're also working with IOHK. We're reading the specifications, we're making modification specifications to figure out exactly how to enable this feature in Yoroi. So we have a team of people that's working on this feature, and we're making good progress. But obviously, we'll be announcing stuff as it becomes more ready for how the exact interface of staking Yoroi will work. But so far, I think it's very pretty. The whole system, although it is complex, I think we'll have a really good user experience for it to really walk people through the staking procedure. So we've been spending a lot of time on it, but I think it'll be really great. So we'll have some announcements about that within the coming weeks.
Looking forward to those announcements for sure. And obviously making it user-friendly is so incredibly key, because the reality is most people, when they find out they can stake something, they want to do it. But in terms of if you have to go through a bunch of hurdles and technical things, it becomes really difficult for people. So user friendliness is absolutely key. Now I want to get your thoughts about kind of some more overarching things that have been happening recently with Cardano. We have now Cardano 1.5, the completion of Byron. So kind of what does that mean for the average user out there? Are they going to experience any changes to the way Cardano is working? And of course, when Shelley? When are we going to see it? What's going on with the production of that?
Right. So if you imagine a kind of classic software engineering problem, it's hard to come up with the right solution. So I'm trying to adjust my camera a bit. It's hard to come up with the perfect solution right away. Okay. So often what you want to do is you want to come up with a solution, think about the problem, think about you've learned how you can improve, and then make a second iteration, right? And you can kind of think of that as what's happening with Cardano. So we had Cardano 1.0 come out quite a while ago now, back in 2017, I believe, the end of the year, okay? And it was the first iteration, okay? We had research done about Ouroboros, what is proof of stake protocol, and so we had an engineering team go out and build the protocol. Since then, we've done a lot more research on the problem, and we've learned a lot about how to engineer complex engineering products such as this. And this is mostly our partners at IOHK that have done this. Since we've done all of this, it's time to kind of go back, look at what we've learned, and try and make a more refined next step. And so that's what Shelley is supposed to be. And so that's why if you look at Shelley, not only is there a lot more research behind this, a lot more specification behind it. So you can find, 50-page documents about exactly how it's going to work from a mathematical level, and really puts you through all the steps such that there's no ambiguity behind it. Okay. And so that's what we're moving to. It's like the refinement on top of the first iteration. Now, the problem that we have, in a sense, is that making such a big switch is non-trivial. Okay, mostly because if you think about a blockchain, we need the blockchain to maintain across all protocol upgrades, right? We don't want to have to stop Cardano, create a new Genesis block for a new blockchain, and have everybody migrate over. That's just a terrible user experience, right? So we need to have a smooth transition. If you want to do a second iteration of your protocol with so many new changes, which is what will happen in Shelley, it's hard to do it in one smooth change. So what we've decided to do is have an intermediate step. Okay, and that intermediate step is called Ouroboros BFT. And it's a much simpler protocol that will kind of tie the two layers between. And the reason this makes it a smoother experience is because the old code base has to have a transition point with Ouroboros BFT, and then you could draw the old code base, and then the new code base hooks in with Ouroboros BFT and continues on. Okay, so this will ensure that we have a smooth user experience across the upgrades. And that's what Cardano 1.5 is supposed to be. It's the first hook going into Ouroboros BFT. So that means we have Byron. Okay, with 1.5, we just added a hook into Ouroboros BFT. And now that we have the Ouroboros BFT hook, then we can add in Shelley afterwards.
So I want to move on now to talk about the super exciting news, which is the Ledger Wallet integration. Now, this is something the community has been wanting for a very, very long time. Why has it taken so long? What have been the challenges in making this happen?
Right, so let me kind of walk you through these steps of integrating with Ledger. Okay, so the very first step is having support for the cryptographic functions that we need for Cardano. So Cardano is written from the ground up. It's entirely new code base. We did not fork Bitcoin or any other blockchain.
It makes it so much easier for Ledger integration just to fork Bitcoin, by the way.
Yes, exactly. So the reason it took long for the first step, which is adding the required cryptographic functions, is because when IOHK was making Cardano, they said, okay, what's the best cryptography that we can get at this current time for our protocol? And so they picked according to that, which means that we have a function that is not used in other cryptocurrencies. A few other cryptocurrencies have adopted these kinds of cryptographic features since then, which is why we're not the only blockchain that has had to wait for this. But that was added, I think it was back in January or maybe December, something around that range. So it was not possible to have Ledger integration before then because we would just not be able to do the cryptography required to do the integration. Okay, so that's part of the integration, right? Once we have Ledger support for the cryptography, then we need to build the actual Ledger app. So that means if you pull out your Ledger device, you select your app, right? So we need to do the actual programming of the application. So we worked with our partners in a company called Vacuum Labs on this. And so we worked with them to build the application, and that was done in about 1 month time. Okay, so now that we've got the actual application on the Ledger device, then we need to build the UI, which is Yoroi, right? Because your Cardano Ledger, although it can store your wallet, it cannot really broadcast transactions. It can sign transactions, it can check public keys, but it cannot broadcast transactions. You need to connect it to a wallet to do that, right? Which is why we developed the integration with Ledger inside Yoroi. So Yoroi is now the place where you can connect your Ledger device to then be able to broadcast your transactions, to check your balance, and all these kinds of stuff. And so the development...
So just one quick question, just to confirm, so the Ledger integration won't be operable with the dataless wallet?
No, it is just for Yoroi for now. Mm-hmm. So the dataless team will work on adding Ledger support in the future, but I can't speak to their roadmap on this feature.
Mm-hmm.
But so doing the integration into Yoroi took about another month. And then, so that's kind of where we're at now. So if you think about the development and plus the polish and the marketing preparation, it's about 2 to 3 months end to end to build an integration. which I think is fairly reasonable for such a complex system. And so that's kind of why it's taken a while, because we had to wait for the cryptography and then plus the time to build the app and then build integration into Yoroi. But I think overall, it's been fairly fast, and we've had a huge amount of people working on every step of the pipeline. Ledger has been really great about communicating with us and syncing with us about the progress on this. So kudos to them and everybody else who's been working on this product with us.
Will you be able to stake using your ledger through the Yoroi wallet? Is that something that's going to be available? So I'll be able to do essentially, cold staking.
Yeah, so the question of when Ledger is answered for now, but I'm sure it'll come back for two reasons. One is because we want to add staking through Ledger devices, through Trezor devices, and possibly any other solution that IOHK comes up with. And so we'll be working on that for sure. And I can't speak to the release date because obviously that depends on the release date of Shelley.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a question for IOHK. But the Ledger support also has to be extended now to the Ledger Nano X, right? Because we want to have people be able to also use their hardware wallet inside their mobile phone, right? So as you know, Yoroi is also available for iOS and Android, which means now we have to add support for this also. So the X is not released yet, but I'm sure once it's released, people will be asking us about the integration. So we'll be sure to get started on working on that right away. That way, when it comes up, people will be able to use their hardware wallets with their phones.
Yeah, the Ledger Nano X is very cool. I was lucky to get an advanced copy of one, but definitely that mobile wallet integration is super important. And look, if you're storing a lot on your mobile wallet, then you're going to want to use it. If you have $10 worth of Cardano sitting there, you may not be so worried about your Ledger Nano X integration, but still important to have that mobile opportunity in the Yoroi wallet. I've actually got it downloaded on my mobile phone as well, so it's good for that. I got it in my Chrome browser here as well, so it works across all things, which is great. So very, very excited. I'm so happy to finally see the Ledger integration happening for Cardano. I know it's been a long time in the coming, but it's great to see it happening. Obviously, things are never finished, right? Things always continue to move forward. You have to continue to, like I said, next is the Ledger Nano X, so you can get it onto mobile phones and all these things. But nevertheless, I think this is definitely a very welcome step for the community to see this Ledger integration finally happening.
Yeah, and the way to set up is fairly easy. If you have a new wallet in Yoroi, all you got to do is create wallet, connect with Ledger, and it's like 2 or 3 prompts and you're done. If you have an existing Yoroi wallet, it's slightly more complicated because the way we have Yoroi set up, it's 1 account per Chrome profile. That means if you have an existing Yoroi wallet, you'll have to click the button at the top right of your Chrome and click create a new account. It'll create a new Chrome account. And so you have 1 Chrome account, which is your old wallet, and 1 Chrome account, which is your new Ledger wallet. And you can choose to send your funds or manage them however you want. So there's an extra complication, which is not that big of a deal from the actual steps you have to take. But it may not be obvious for some users how to create a new Chrome profile. So I just wanted to mention that right away, because probably a lot of users, as soon as this come out, will ask, how do I migrate my existing wallet to Ledger? And the way you do that is by creating a new, the easiest way to do that is by creating a new Chrome profile. And in that new Chrome profile, you download Yoroi and set that one up with Ledger.
Very, very cool. Sebastian, thank you so much for coming on today and tell us a little bit about Yoroi, a little bit about what Emergo is doing, and of course about Ledger. It's super exciting. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.